Hello everyone, welcome back on another episode of LJ.Mindset. Alright, let's talk about something super important. Building financial success while you're still young. If you're between 16 and 26, this is the perfect time to get ahead of the game. The earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow, and that's a huge advantage. So let me break down some simple but powerful steps that will set you up for a solid financial future. First thing first, budgeting. I know it might sound boring, but it's so important. When you track where your money is going, you can control your spending and save for the things that really matter. For example, let's say you're working part-time, like Sarah, who's 18. She takes her paycheck and divides it up to 50%. So basically, 50% goes to savings and 30% to things like food or going out and stuff like that, and then 20% into long-term investments. That way, even if her income is small, she's setting herself up for her future, and she also can make herself happy with spending on things she likes. So if you start saving and investing now, the magic of compound interest is on your side. Just look at Michael, who's for example 21, who started investing $100 a month at 18. By the time he's 30, his investment will have grown a lot more. It's all about getting your money working for you as soon as possible. Even with small amounts, adds up over time. For example, I started to invest at the age of 14 and I still invest now, and I made so much money. And it's so interesting, the fact that you can make money work for you while you're asleep, while you're working. Money is still making. So why not just start? So debt is a killer when it comes to your finances. I know it might seem tempting to get a credit card or take out loans, but avoid it if you can, trust me. For example, if Emily, let's say, she's 19, she didn't rush into getting a credit card. Instead, she focused on saving for emergencies and living with her means. Because of that, she's not buried in debt and can focus on growing her wealth without worrying about monthly bills piling up. Because no one wants that. No one wants to basically pay every single month, pay like between maybe, let's say, $500 and $600 into loans for the car and then for your house, and then no one wants that. And it's really important for you to really focus on what is the most important thing. Do I really need a car? For example, we live in Luxembourg. Everything is free. The transports are free. Just use them. I know it's sometimes annoying, but use them instead of buying a car that you don't have even the money for. Having a side hustle can make a huge difference, trust me. Whether it's freelancing, selling stuff online, or even offering tutoring services, there are endless ways to make extra money. And I did a few episodes about this, so if you really want to sell stuff or try to do freelancing or even like sell on Amazon, for example, I did this and it worked so much. Just go listen to my episodes. For example, let's take James, 22. He started picking up on freelancing graphic design work. Not only was he making money, but he was also learning the skills he needed to run his own business one day. That's a win-win. It's the same thing. For example, LJ.Mindset, what I do the same thing. So financial education is the key. It's not something most schools teach, but there are plenty of resources to learn from. For example, what I did was reading books. I just love reading books about financial freedom, just about psychology. And when I was 14, I started to read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I read this 3 times in a row. And this was just an incredible book, and I still want to read it again because you'll learn so much more. You can learn about what you did wrong, or you can learn about your mistakes. And listening also to podcasts about finances. I know that sometimes it really sounds boring, but when I tell you, sometimes what I do is I just clean my room, and instead of listening to a music, I just start to listening to a podcast. When it's really annoying, I just listen to music. But when I tell you, there's some podcast that I really love. The first one is the CEO So he's someone who is basically talking with like people who are into, for example, business, psychology, like an author and stuff like that. And it's so interesting because I learned so much more. There is also Iman Gatti. I already talked about him in my podcast, and he really learned me so many things. Also about like e-commerce, like he really helped me a lot, and also about like a business, like an agency I did like a few months ago. So that's why. Don't think there is like nothing for you to help you. Like there are so many things that are also free. For example, YouTube. Again, we cannot trust everything that is said. That's why it's very important for you to also begin networking. And I also did an episode because networking will not only help you in the fact that you just learn people, it also will open new opportunities and people might also help you. For example, today I have like a meeting with someone who is like a trader, part-time investor, and it's really so interesting because I learned so much from him and for free, and I also can learn him so many things, so that's a win-win. So building good credit is something you should start working on as soon as possible. If you have a good credit, you'll pay less in interest on loans, and it will make your life easier. When you need to borrow money, like Oliver, for example, who's 23, who worked on building his credit score by paying bills on time and using his credit cards responsibly. So when it was time to buy a car, he got a great interest rate because of his solid credit history. And that's something most of us don't really know about, because you have so many different interest rates, and it's really important to learn how really, like, what is and what isn't the bank telling us, because of course we are fools, and of course the bank will not necessarily tell us everything because they also want to make money, but we really need to work how the bank works. And again, it depends really on every country, because for example, Luxembourg and France is not going to be the same interest rates. It's very different. So we've all been there, trying to keep up with friends or influencers on social media who have the latest gadgets, clothes, or accessories. But here's the thing, don't let that pressure you. Lydia, for example, who's 17, just like me, decided early on that she wasn't going to waste her money on trends. Instead, she focused on saving for things that matters, like travel experiences and long-term goals. That's the kind of mindset that pays off. For example, me, 17, who stopped, who just loves everything that is about clothes. I love fashion. I started to just stop wasting my money on so many clothes that, like, maybe 1 year after, I won't even, like, put it again. So why waste my money? Seriously. So basically, divide my money and then divide it into mine is a bit different, but I want to divide mine into 70% goes into my investment and 30% goes for me, and I can do whatever I want. And that's really, really something that saved so much money just for me. So having clear financial goals will keep you on track. Short-term goals like saving for a laptop or long-term goals like buying a house will help you stay focused. For example, let's say Ryan, 23, set the goal of saving for a down payment on a house by 25. He kept track on his progress, and that helped him stay disciplined with his savings and investments. So the thing is, what you need to understand in this is that you have short-term goals and you have long-term goals. Short-term goals are really good because it keeps you really on track. But long-term goals are sometimes a bit more complicated for certain people because it takes so long, and some of you are not patient. So what I do if I see that I am not patient or my friends are not patient with certain goals, I just like to mentor them. I just like to talk to them. Every, let's say, single week or single month, we talk about the same goal, and it keeps them really focused on it. Sometimes what also helps is not just post on, for example, socials, like, oh, in 2 years, I want to do this and this, and I will keep you on track. And then there are many people who are basically motivating you to keep doing this. I did this for the past years, and it helps it has helped me so much build also discipline. So yeah, I think this could be a great thing to do. And also maybe write on a journal everything that you've done, everything that you basically achieved in life. It's really important. So don't be afraid to ask for help when it comes to money. Having a mentor who's been there and done that can provide priceless advices. For example, what I do is I am a mentor. I just love helping people. I am a mentor of 3 people, 3 persons, and they're just lovely. I also do this for free. There is one where he pays me because it's really professional, but there are 2 who are just my best friends, and they're just incredible. And I just love helping them because when I was younger, like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I just had a mentor, and it was the best thing I could do. Because it helped me really build so many things. I could ask questions whenever I needed. I could, for example, call my mentor. It was just very, very, very helpful for me. And I think that for you, it can be the same thing. I think that sometimes some of you can be a little bit lost, and that's completely normal to be lost at the first sight. But keep on tracking, keep on with your goals, because I know that you are really capable of achieving this. You're really capable of really achieving everything that you settle for. Just keep on track and really don't be afraid to ask someone. That's why it's very important to do networking. So one of the best resources you can use to get your mind right about money is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It's all about understanding the difference between working for money and having your money work for you. The book teaches you to invest in assets, not liabilities, and that mindset can change everything. If you're serious about getting ahead financially, this is a must read. So the bottom line is start now. The earlier you develop good financial habits, the easier it will be to build wealth down to the road. By budgeting, saving, avoiding debt, and investing early, you can set yourself up for a financially secure future. And remember, it's all about consistency. Don't let the fear of starting small hold you back. You've got time on your side, and with the right habits, you'll be looking back at a bright financial future before you know it. So take action today, and I will see you next week. Have a good day. This was Louisa on LJ.Mindset. And yeah, bye.